All right, then. We're back again for another episode of Cooking with Chef Dan Danis, where we don't do a lot of cooking, we do a lot of talking and understanding and learning the basics here first. Okay? Um, Before you can cook, you have to learn how to cook. And learning how to cook involves some things like health and safety. Health and safety is the topic today. And I'm sure you'll find it very interesting. Water. The number one drink in the world is water. The best drink to have is water. I wouldn't believe them if it says something about pH. I wouldn't believe them about a lot of things that bottles say. A lot of them are just to sell the water. As long as it's good water, that's all that matters. So here it is. Red Seal study stuff. As I said, you're going to want to save everything. You know, if you go to college, don't throw your stuff out. Save it, because you're going to need to go over it. And be prepared. One day you will need the information for your Red Seal. Oh, I don't know where I got all this stuff. Top 10 foods to eat after 50 years old. Wow, because I'm pushing 50 now. Slowly but surely. Look at it. If you're over 50 years old, you should eat these things: sweet potato, black beans, broccoli, eggplant, beets, salmon, avocado, chickpeas, ginger, and cauliflower. Interesting. Well, sweet potato has vitamin A and C and fiber in it. Black beans have fiber, protein, good for the heart and brain. Broccoli has vitamin A, C, K, and N, high in fiber, antioxidants, body detox, and it's good for healthy cells. Eggplant has fiber, vitamin A, C, and K, potassium. Beets has vitamin B6, K, A, B1, D, vitamin C, antioxidants. Salmon, wild caught salmon, has omega-3, vitamin D, less saturated fats as farm raised. I don't like farm raised. Farm raised salmon has, they feed them pellets. The pellets are made from, I think they're made from minnows, and the minnows concentrate, I think it's mercury or something into them, and then you end up eating the fish that ate the pellets that concentrates the mercury, and then you end up getting mercury. If you eat salmon that's wild and not farm fed, then the wild salmon won't be eating pellets. Wild salmon will be picking and choosing what they want to eat while they're in the water, and they'll still be eating minnows, only I think they have a sixth sense when it comes to what they want to eat. Like they know if the fish is good or not. Kind of like we'll look at a lettuce. You know, if the lettuce leaves were wilted and brown, we wouldn't eat it. Well, I think the salmon probably has the same consciousness to what it eats. You know, so it probably eat the best it can. But when it's farm fed, they got no choice. They got to eat those pellets, right? And the pellets are made from the minnows that, you know, have high concentrations of things in it that, you know, pollutants. I don't know if it's the mercury, you know, come to think about it, I think it has something to do with plastics. It's been a while. Anyways, moving on. Avocado healthy. Vitamins, fats, minerals, slowing aging process. Avocado slows the aging process. Wow. Let's see. Chickpeas is a legume. Good for protein, fiber and protein. Hey, I mean, if you don't eat meat, you're going to be eating chickpeas, right? Good for strong bones. Substitute for steak, right? Ginger has flavonoids and antioxidants. Reduces inflammation, cancer, and Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's, eh? There's something about Alzheimer's and people who stay awake for long periods of time or are active consistently for long periods of time. They were doing a study recently with taxi drivers, and that part of the brain is continuously stimulated when it comes to taxi drivers, I guess because they're awake a long period of time and they're always doing something. And that's contributing to Alzheimer's disease, I guess, if they can duplicate that. I don't know. I saw it on the news. Cauliflower, vitamin C and antioxidants in it too. Anyways, I just running into that. Put that aside. Sausage binder. Okay, that is one of my teachers. Sanitation and safety. I got it 86% in this test. In this class. And that is Chef Jen. All right, we'll put that aside. All right. I went through several tests while in school. They were all very good. The health and safety was not a chef, but an inspector. An inspector with many years of experience who inspected places. She may have been a chef too. I don't know. Didn't really ask. Let's see here. Right. So we had this program called Train Can that brought us through a lot of the different health and safety and sanitation requirements. All right, they give us some information. Fat Tom, food, acids, temperature, time, oxygen, and moisture. All have to do with the growth of bacteria, temperature, and time. Let's see here. WMIS training, Workplace Hazardous Material Information System, GHS, Globally Harmonized System. 1988, the federal and provincial legislations is WMIS. Keep people informed, suppliers, employers, workers. Keep going. Pictograms. Those are all the symbols. Red border symbols, WMIS classifications, organic peroxides, aerosols, substances and mixtures, gas cylinders for gases under pressure, corrosion, tubes, pores on hands, metal damage to skin and eyes. I guess that's corrosion. Exploding bomb. Wow, these are new symbols, right? They upgraded their symbols, so there's more symbols now. One is exploding bomb, broken ball, pieces flying out in the symbol. So that's what you'll see is a ball breaking in the middle of the symbol and pieces flying out. Self-reactive substances, explosion, organic peroxides fall under that category. Skull and crossbones, health hazard, exclamation mark, biohazardous infectious material, kind of looks like the Klingon sign, from Star Trek. Aquatic toxicity. These are the different symbols. They made more symbols keep going here. This is like last year, eh? I've had my health and safety now for, geez, a while now. There's so much you don't go over it, and it's good to go over it because you need to remember it. It's all going to be part of the health, the Red Seal. I mean, you got to know things like why does the sink have 1, 2, 3 in it? What's the temperature in each sink? Just silly things like that. I mean, it's not silly. You need to know it. Safety data sheets. We know safety data sheets, right? The OWHSA, the Ontario Health and Safety Awareness Training Act. Employer and employees' rights and responsibilities. Duties under the OHSA list keeping people safe in the workplace. Now, these things are done so your food handler certificate and your allergen certificate, they're done on the computer, all right? And when you do the tests, you have to be looking forward so they know you're not cheating, all right? They're going to make sure you're not cheating. And if they see your eyes wander like this, or something like that, they'll stop the test. They're watching you. So you got to know your stuff. So the best way to know your stuff is to write it down. So you're going to go through it, and all the answers are going to be there. And you got to press A, B, C, or D to find the right answer. Now, you're going to read through the 5 or 6 pages worth of stuff. Best thing to do is make notes and of what is what. And then they'll come up with the questions, A, B, C, D, or E, A, B, C, or D. And you're going to do those so that you can move on to the next module. I even took pictures with my phone, so that I could not forget some things, because there's a lot of writing to it, So I eventually made sure I wrote it all down. And then you end up with a big pile of papers like this, and all you have to do is go over it, Government agencies, the Ontario Ministry of Labour, the Workplace Safety Insurance Board, WSIB, right? Various health and safety associations available to employees and employers. Ministry of Labor, there's a phone number. Ministry of Labor phone number is 1-877-202-0008. Evaluate and protect your rights. Workplace Safety and Insurance Board to support you if you're hurt. Steps in Prevention. Health and Safety Association, the HSA. Work with Workers Health and Safety Center. Occupational Health Clinics for Ontario Workers. Infrastructure Health and Safety Association, IHSA. Public Service Health and Safety Association. Now, if you end up going to another province, you may have to redo this stuff, but there wouldn't be much difference. Instead of saying Ontario, it would be like Manitoba Health and Safety Board or something like that. You're probably still good working in another place, Probably not much different than a working at Heights. AHSC responsibilities to the IRS, monitor functions. Safety rep. Lots of stuff here. Hazard assessment. What if questions. When an unsafe change takes place, source of a hazard can be fatigue, substance, people, equipment, or environment. Notice to control. Ventilation, temperature, office layout. Well, I did my best writing these things, OHSA review, emergency procedures in the workplace, first aid. Respond by employer before ambulance arrives, workplace violence and harassment, WVH. stranger violence, client-customer violence, co-worker violence, domestic violence. The employee is responsible to report incidences, industry exceptions. Keep going. So that's like a whole module right there. Allergens. Oh, we talk about anaphylaxis. Commonly used terms. What are adverse reactions? How to recognize the symptoms of adverse reactions? What are the priority food allergens in Canada? How to understand a food label. Jeez, I did so much work to pass this darn thing. I mean, it's not that much work. I did more work than I had to. But, I mean, I graduated on the Dean's List with honors and everything like that. I mean, I probably didn't have to go so far in most of what I did, but I did anyways. I really wanted to do it. I don't know. Food intolerance equals stomach disorders or lacks enzymes needed to digest the food. Lactose intolerance is not the same as allergy to milk. Symptoms of lactose intolerance are nausea, stomach cramps, diarrhea, flatulence, and bloating. Lactose intolerance is not the same as an allergy to milk. Hey, that's different, eh? Symptoms of lactose intolerance, nausea, stomach cramps, diarrhea, flatulence, and bloating. A gluten intolerance or celiac disease is not the same as an allergy to wheat. Again, gluten intolerance or celiac disease is not the same as an allergy to wheat. Gluten is a protein which is found in wheat, barley, rye, and triticale, and a hybrid of wheat and rye. Triticale, 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 and possibly oats, intestinal. Sulfate affects 5 to 10% of people with asthma. Sulfites intolerance is a chemical used to preserve food or enhance flavor, found in fruits, vegetables, or alcoholic beverages. Symptoms can be minutes to hours later with an allergen, most within 2 hours. Symptoms: face, itching, redness, swelling, airway, trouble breathing, swallowing, speaking. In the stomach is pain, vomiting, and diarrhea. The total body, you have hives, rashes, weakness, paleness, sense of doom, a loss of consciousness. Wow, sense of doom. Like, oh my God, I'm going to die. Allergens Part 2. Cross-contamination, pre-packaging products, reworked foods, same into same. Notice to allergens should be on menu. Common names like milk and not whey or casein. Allergen safe, cross-contamination, pre-packaged food, reworked foods, same into same. The triple check. Read the ingredients list before purchase. Read the ingredients list before storing. Read the ingredients list before preparing. That's the triple check method. The best rule for reworked food is same into same. This is when leftover ingredients are added to something new, like vegetable soup. Was given pasta from yesterday, the soup is not the same and introduces new allergens. Therefore, it must be documented for the customer. The best rule is same into same. Geez, I got back and front. Allergen risk management, ARM, is a component in an organization. HACCP, hazardous analysis critical control point. False, false. Allergen risk management is required by law. False. Only managers and chefs should be trained. False. The flow of food is where it goes by step from off the truck to the frying pan. The flow of food is where it goes by step from off the truck to the frying pan. HACCP. Receive, store, prepare, cook, hold, serve, cool, reheat. 3 steps of food safety. You're like, what? Okay, the flow of food, this is the flow of food, is where it goes step by step from off the truck to the frying pan. Got me? So you receive it at the back door of the restaurant, okay? You put it into storage, whether the freezer and the dry storage, whichever. You take it, you prepare it, you cook it, you hold serve it, you cool it, and you reheat it. And that's what happens to food. The flow of food. So that's the flow of food. 3 steps to food safety. Microorganisms from getting into food. Okay, you want to stop microorganisms from getting into food. 3 steps to food safety. The growth of a microorganism. You want to stop the growth of a microorganism. And you don't want microorganisms from getting into food. You want to stop the growth of microorganisms, and proper cleaning and cooking, sanitizing is important. Avoid cross-contamination. You're cutting raw chicken with a knife, and then you're taking that same knife and you're cutting romaine lettuce. It's cross-contamination. Using the same cutting board as you were cutting chicken on, and you're cutting now lettuce with it, or cherry tomatoes. It's cross-contamination. You get that stuff. It can make you sick. Cutting boards, color-coded to prevent cross-contamination. So a lot of times we use a red cutting board to cut meat, a white cutting board to cut vegetables, a green cutting board to cut other vegetables. Wash, rinse, sanitize your cutting boards. Separate the boards for raw and cooked foods. Resurface or regular basis or replaced. So I mean, I guess if the cutting boards are not very good, you're going to replace them. Personal hygiene. Food can be contaminated by the food handler. All right. So I mean, we are the carriers of disease. Cycle of transmission. So there's a cycle of transmission, direct and indirect transmission. The food handler, transmission through the skin, the nose, the hair. Indirect transmission, environment, work surfaces, air, through utensils, and they all get transferred into food. So that's how the cycle of transmission works. Pathogens are harmful bacteria or other microorganisms that cause foodborne illness. Pathogens. All right, so when you're a cook, reasons to stay home. This is what you're waiting for. If you're vomiting, if you have a fever, if you have diarrhea, jaundice, or if you're coughing and sneezing. If you have an open sore or blister, bandage it. Wear gloves, tell the manager. If you have hepatitis A, probably not a good idea to work in the food industry. Cleaning and sanitize is very important. Sterilize, sanitize, cleaning. Chlorine, iodine, quartz. Quaternary ammonium. QUATS. You might want to look that one up. Quaternary ammonium. Or it's a sanitation method. All right, so people use chlorine and iodine as well to sanitize things. 100 parts per million of chlorine, 200 parts per million of AU. That's quartz, I guess, and 25 parts per million of iodine. Hot water is 45 degrees Celsius. Machine wash dishwasher, minimum 60 degrees Celsius or 140 degrees Fahrenheit, and 82 degrees Celsius or 180 degrees Fahrenheit sanitize. And these are questions that you're asked in the Red Seal. It's important. I mean, I don't remember it. I mean, I remember that a rare steak is 120 to 125 degrees Fahrenheit when it's cooked, sort of cooked rare. It's rare. It's not really cooked, but it's a rare steak, it's 120 degrees. And that makes a rare steak, 130, 135 for rare, medium rare. And then you got medium, and then you got medium well, and then you got well done, right? 160, 165 degrees Fahrenheit, well done. Temperature danger zone, do you remember it? It's between 4 degrees Celsius and 60 degrees Celsius, which is 40 degrees Fahrenheit and 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Easy peasy. All right, so this is Chapter 1, Sanitation and Safety. Quiz notes. Federal, provincial, and municipal food safety regulations run under those three. Federal, provincial guidelines. Provincial provides legislation, and municipal provides enforcement to the bylaws. All right. Lots of wonderful, interesting stuff here. Sanitation, safety, chapters 1 through 3. Let's see chapter 2 here. 10 things you need to know about food safety. What is a foodborne illness? How does food become contaminated? How can we prevent food contamination? What are 3 steps of food safety? What is potentially hazardous food, PHF? Why is the temperature of food important? Why is time important in food preparation or handling? What is the most important tool for food safety? What is cross-contamination? What are the most important things that food handlers can do for safety? All right, millennials. Hello, Google. Yes, how is food safety, blah, blah, blah? To all the millennials out there. To anybody else? Well, I covered a few of those things just a few minutes ago. Sanitation and Safety, Chapter 2, Types of Microorganisms, Bacteria, Virus, Parasites, and Fungi. Types of microorganisms, bacteria, viruses, parasites, and fungi. Microorganisms, protein, carbohydrates to grow, acidity 4.6 to 4.5 to grow. Needs carbohydrates to grow. Protein, carbohydrates to grow. Microorganisms need protein and carbohydrates to grow. Acidity of 4.6 or 4.5. I'm not sure what that means, if that kills them or if that's what they live under. Moisture of 0.85 or above, potential hazard. Okay. Well, acid kills, right? That's why you can have steak tartare. So acidic ingredients are mixed with it. Yeah. Moving on. Community understanding, leadership training, uncompromising, reassurance and respect example. Develop a strong safety culture. What is culture? Most valuable assets are employees. The culture in a restaurant is the communication and the way all the co-workers work together to keep a safe environment in the restaurant. That's pretty much the definition of a culture in the restaurant. I know you can think culturing foods with bacteria and stuff, that's not that culture. Most valuable assets are the employees. You're all working together. All right. Imagine you're all a bunch of little organelles working together in a cell. All right. Another way to look at it, I guess. And you're all trying to keep that cell working properly, well, and efficiently. In this perspective, you're trying to keep all foodborne illnesses at a low level by all working together to make sure so that the food comes in, but nobody notices the expiration date is 2 weeks off. All right, but the server who works in the front doesn't normally work with food, just happens to notice it and says, "Hey, this is 2 weeks off. Maybe you should check it out." Then it stops before it gets out. Now, it shouldn't have gone that far, but a good culture means that everybody in the restaurant works together to make sure that everything is run properly. And it is his job just as much as it's anybody else's job. You all got to work together to make a good restaurant. All right. So there is a direct line between employees' behavior and attaining organizational goals, the ability to adapt to changing times. The culture is the foundation. Monter, this is the way we do things around here. Entire levels of employees, from ounce to workers, protecting the organization, project, everything works together, everybody works together. Food safety culture equals behavior. Yeah, coming from a book. Anyways, it's all point form. But pretty much what I told you, that's the way it is. So let's see, risk assessment, menu items and products must be understood to know the risks involved in having the items on the menu. Effective manager, effectively manage the risk, tools, knowledge, and skill. Training, building trust, breaking trust. Yeah, not that important. Do your part. Notes for final exam and sanitation. Yeah, these truly are notes. Don't even make sense of my own notes. Reheating 74 degrees Celsius, 60 degrees to 20 degrees, 2 hours, 20 degrees, 4 degrees Celsius, 4 hours, total of 6 hours. Yeah, that one stage is 4 hours, 20 degrees Celsius, 4 degrees Celsius. This is talking about how long. I think it's talking about how long you can leave food out for before it goes bad, and the longest you can leave food out for is 6 hours. 2 hours as the temperature drops between 60 degrees and 20 degrees, and 4 hours between 20 degrees and 4 degrees, which I believe goes beyond the temperature danger zone. Total is 6 hours. Two-stage cooling. Okay, it's the two-stage cooling system method. Yeah, so that's something else you can look up, my millennial fans. Chapter 7, 8, and 9. Train cam, sanitation and training. Purchase, receiving, and storing food. We start preventing contaminated food in the receiving area. We start preventing contaminated food in the receiving area. The critical control points, packaging, quality, freshness, clean and safe, and temperature checks. Storing food 6 inches off the floor, 2 inches away from the wall. Raw food on the bottom shelf. Hazardous foods cover all food. Hazard foods cover all food. Use FIFO method, first in, first out methods. Okay, 6 inches off the floor, 2 inches away from the wall. That's the way you store food. Raw foods on the bottom shelf. Hazard foods cover all foods. My goodness, my goodness, my goodness. Do it the millennial way if you're not sure. I have all my pictures here. Now, if I look at it, I go all the way back into my sanitation pictures from all that time ago, and I have all the pictures. I took a picture of everything. I'm going to run into where you should put fish in the fridge, where you should put meat in the fridge, like steak. Let's see here. I'm getting closer. Oh, I'm at costing. This is calculations. Go back even further. Okay, I think I'm somewhere here. What does that say? ARM plans. So you're going to get questions like, allergen risk should be identified as part of your good manufacturing practices. That's true. That answer is true. All food services operations are required by law to have a documented allergy risk manager. That is false. What element should an ARM plan include? Understanding food labeling, risk management measures, emergency procedures, and protocol. Let's see what else we got here. I took a picture of everything. Took a picture of all the answers because you need to know these answers, man. I'm telling you. I can use the Ask the Expert button to submit questions. True. I can review a section again once I complete and pass. False. A fast food chain serves an average 150 breakfasts, 300 lunches, and consumers could have a food allergy. And it says 66. I guess I didn't get all that. What grade on the module test is required to move to the next level? 100%. You have to get 100% on each module to be able to move to the next module. All right, so you got to know your stuff. I cannot review a section again once I complete and pass the module test. True. Okay, a fast food chain serves an average of 150 breakfasts, 300 lunches, and 430 dinners. Consumers could have a food allergy. So how many consumers could have a food allergy? If a food chain serves an average of 150 breakfasts, 300 lunches, and 430 dinners, how many consumers could have a food allergy? The answer is 66. I can review end of section test questions after I progress to the next section, and that is false. Children could have food allergies. No, I can't see the beginning of that. What grade on the module test is required to move to the next section? 100%. Yeah, I was just reading that one. Okay, let's move forward. Yeah, a lot of good stuff here. Probably a little bit better on my phone than I have in my notes here. Now these are just notes to help me pass the test. All right. And I already passed the test. You got to pass the test. Let's go over a few more things from my phone, because it seems that my phone has better knowledge here. Foods maximum storage periods: dry yeast 18 months, powdered milk 4 months, canned goods 12 months, cereal grains 8 months, spices 24 months. So you can keep your spices on your spice rack for 24 months and they're still good before you have to buy new ones. Dried beans 24 months, dried fruit 8 months, jams 12. Always remember FEMO, first in, first out. So, you remove. Oh no, I dropped the picture and I got to go all the way through it again, right to the end. All the way to the end. Slowing down, slowing down, slowing down. I'm getting there. Oh, this is where I graduated to Wiley. Okay, what do we got here? Oh, we're talking about meats here. Let's keep looking. Do 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 do. Make a little singing. Oh, my kitty cat. Want to see my picture of my kitty cat? Isn't he cute? He just had a bath there. He wasn't really happy about that. So let's keep looking. This is your certificate. So this is what the certificate looks like. Can I get it? A picture of it? There's too much glare, eh? You can't see it? Okay, forget it. What do we got here? I was looking for the food storage. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So, cooked and ready to eat foods go on the top. Raw fish go underneath that. Raw unground beef goes underneath the fish. Raw pork, ham, bacon, or sausage goes underneath the raw unground beef. Raw ground beef and ground pork goes underneath the raw pork and ham. And raw poultry goes at the bottom, always at the bottom. All right, and that's where it all goes. A little confusing, eh? Raw unground beef goes under the fish, but raw ground beef and ground pork goes almost to the bottom above the. So here's the thing: raw unground beef, all right, has very little fat in it. All right, so raw ground beef and ground pork, which has fat in it. All right, fat that's where all the bad stuff comes from. So when you make a steak tartare, you're using very little, you're using product with very little fat in it. So raw and ground beef with very little fat in it. So it's not like 80-20, It's more like 95-5, something like that. And who knows if there's any fat in it when it's steak tartare. I'd have to check that out a little bit myself. But raw ground beef and ground pork go right at the bottom, right above the poultry, raw poultry. um, chicken. Raw pork, ham, bacon, and sausage go around the middle. Raw fish goes around the top, and underneath raw fish, you get your cooked and ready to eat foods go at the top, okay, of the fridge. So let's keep looking for more stuff here. What do I got here? Equipment that is used continuously should be cleaned and sanitized. Every 4 hours is your answer. Okay. Large equipment that cannot be moved needs to be washed or scrubbed with a detergent solution, rinsed with clean water, and sanitized. That is your answer. Water used for washing dishes should be at least 45 degrees Celsius, which is 113 degrees Fahrenheit. That is true. It's okay to dry dishes or equipment with a towel if you're in a hurry. No, that's not okay. So it's false. Dishes that are chipped or cracked should be thrown out because bacteria can get in. That is true. That dish that I bought from the thrift store the other day, it was very nice. Got a couple pears on it, or peaches, or something like that. I showed it in my video. I got it for 99 cents at the thrift store. Just yesterday, I noticed that it had a chip in it. And I'm thinking to myself, darn. But I kept it anyways. I mean, I'm at home. It's different. When you're at work, if you got a chipped dish, you know, a lot of times you're the owner or the executive chef or one of the chefs would say, yeah, just throw it away. That's probably the best situation, is just throw it away. I have run into chefs that say, no, leave it. So don't just throw it away. Ask. And if you find somebody that doesn't want to throw it away, I wouldn't say anything. Odds are your job's on the line. So let's keep going. Citing. Oh, citing is to stop you from plagiarism. I'm on to another class now. I think that's communications. I did not like communications. Oh man, I had problems with communications. Aerobic and anaerobic bacteria. Aerobic needs oxygen to grow. Anaerobic bacteria grows only when oxygen is absent. Microorganisms have different oxygen needs for growth. Aerobic needs oxygen to grow. Anaerobic grows only when oxygen is absent. Okay, got it? Good. I only got about 11 more minutes left. So, the temperature danger zone between 4 and 60. Remember I talked about that? Between 40 degrees Fahrenheit and 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Between 4 degrees Celsius and 60 degrees Celsius. Temperature danger zone. Got it? Most microorganisms grow well in the temperature danger zone. Some survive and grow outside the temperature danger zone. Pathogenic bacteria grow well at a pH of 4.6 to 7.5. Okay. Now, fat Tom, Fa. That's A is acidity. So, fat, F, foods, A, acidity, T, time, fat, Tom, temperature, O, oxygen, M, moisture, fat Tom. Okay. Bacteria needs to grow. All right. Now, fungi commonly cause food spoilage, not illness, but commonly causes food spoilage. Fungi doesn't normally cause illness, commonly causes food spoilage. Fungi, again, fungi, not illness, food spoilages. Fungi. Fungi includes molds, yeasts, and mushrooms. Protozoa, single-celled parasites. transferred through contamination, water, food, and sick people. Parasites, one of multi-celled, do not multiply in food, need a human or animal host to survive, also transferred through water, contaminated with feces or by animal. Viruses, microorganisms that multiply inside living cells, do not reproduce in foods, needs a host to survive, do not require PHF to be transmitted, may survive freezing and cooking. You know what a PHF is? I just said it a second ago. All right, so what else we got here? Pathogens known to be transmitted by food handlers. Hepatitis A. I was talking about that earlier. If you have hepatitis A, get out of the food industry. You don't belong there. There's something wrong with you. You're trying to hurt people. All I can do is work in the food industry, but I have hepatitis A. Come on, man. You don't belong in on the line. You have hepatitis A. You can hurt somebody for the rest of their life. Find another job. Go work in a factory. Go work for a temp agency. They'll have you moving boxes day after day, or doing something. You know, you got to change your line of work. If you have hepatitis A, you don't belong on the line serving food to people, prepping food, anything like that in a restaurant. You're not supposed to be there. That's the way I feel, and well, I think I'm right. Staphylococcus aureus, pathogens known to be transmitted by food handlers. Hepatitis A, Staphylococcus aureus, Shigella, Streptococcus, Salmonella, Giardia, Vibrio caloria, Cryptosporidium, and Yersinia. Yeah. Don't attach a Word document. What else do we got here? Oh yeah, so when you're in college, you're going to get a lot of passwords. When you move to a new place and you got to hook up your internet, you're going to get passwords. You're going to have passwords for all sorts of things. It's always good to take a picture of your passwords, write them down on a piece of paper. You got 6 or 7 passwords after a little while, put them all there. You're going to have like 5 passwords just to deal with school. And then the 4 or 5 passwords at home having to do with your internet and having to do with this, having to do with that, having to do with your Instagram account or your password for an email. Okay, write your passwords down, put them all together on a piece of paper, take a picture of it. All right, what you don't have to remember in your head makes you more room for other things to remember, because the brain can only hold so much information. It has a long term and a short term, all right, ability, the human brain, all right? And for things to get into the long term takes a little while, all right? So it's a good thing to do. You don't have to remember all these passwords. Write it down, take a picture. Trust me, I'm right. Let's see. Program coordinators. I even took a picture of my locker combination when I got a lock, right? It's right here. I went to the grocery store and took a picture of all the spices on the rack. There's like 100 spices. Flavor inspiration. Took 2 pictures to get all the spices. So now, if I ever need to know a spice, all I got to do is bring up the picture and bring it close, and I can see all the different kinds of spices: basil, cinnamon, cloves, coriander, curry, dillweed, garlic, ginger, herbs, cumin seed. There's more coriander, chili pepper, cumin, anise, turmeric, rosemary, saffron, cayenne, lemon seed, lemon pepper, peppercorns, cilantro, coriander, cumin, dill, garlic, onion, paprika. Anyways, you just take a picture of it, and if you can't remember, just look it up. The more times you use your spices, you're going to remember. You're going to remember them off by heart, especially when it comes to the sachet. So, oh yeah, I took a picture of my Christmas tree. That's the first picture I ever took with my phone on the 2-year plan. 2-year plan, was my Christmas tree. I got a little Christmas tree. It's just I live by myself, right? So I mean, I have one little Christmas tree um, worth of decorations. So every year I'll go buy a living tree and stick it up on my dresser. Oh, that sounds awful. I've been alone for so long. And it was just Valentine's Day, and I'm all by myself still. I hope to meet somebody one day, but where I live right now, there's just not that many people. And in Ontario, there's only like 1 million people. There's not a lot of people. In Ottawa, I think it is Ottawa, Ontario. So I don't know. Maybe I'll try a different place one of these days, but I am getting older, so I'm not sure. I've been here a long time now. Went to school, quit smoking, changed my life over the last 5 years now, and still pretty quiet. But I'm at 56 minutes. Enough about my personal life. This is more about your understanding of health and safety, and sort of some of the things that you need to know if you're going into college, and to help you get ahead. Before you actually get there, you can start studying. And if you want to do your Red Seal, those are some of the answers. Okay. For school course, those are some of the answers. Keep looking into it. Okay. Every so often, those answers change a little bit. All right. So keep looking into it. Remember what all the pests are, the cockroaches, a mouse. They even ask me, all right, what diameter of a hole can a mouse get into? And I think it's the size of a dime. The size of its head, pretty much. If a mouse can get its head in a hole, it could fit its body through that hole. And I think the answer was a dime. So, I mean, that's another question that it asks you. I mean, there's a lot of strange questions. And when you do a Red Seal, out of 500 questions, there'll be 100 questions, and it could be any of the 500 questions in that 100 questions. So you got to be aware of that. All right. Now, your Red Seal, you only need a 70% to pass your Red Seal. All right. But you do need the 6,000 hours of working as a chef. All right, to go for the Red Seal exam with the city of wherever you're from. Now, if I decided to move somewhere, I'd probably have to do an upgrade test or something like that. I don't know. I think the graduation certificate from the college is good anywhere in Canada. But if you wanted to move to the States or something like that and cook, like in New York or something like that, you have to pass that Red Seal. Okay? If you want to work for a hotel, most likely you need the Red Seal and maybe 2 years, I think, minimum at the management, so the culinary management course. Yeah. And if you want to work for a hospital, you'll need the vulnerable sectors check. All right. And the Red Seal. So that's it. Thank you for listening. I hope you subscribe. I hope you give me a thumbs up. I'm running on 20 or so subscribers. I am going to pass this on to Meta and see if I can get a few more subscribers. Leaving me a message if you want me to say something or look up something. and I will do everything in my power to answer for you. Have a very wonderful day, and thank you for watching. I'll be back tomorrow with something new. Bye-bye.